Hey guys, my name is Charlotte E. Craig and I am an aspiring fantasy author, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be just a little chatty video. I have my coffee here and I implore you to grab yours or whatever beverage of your choosing, because we're just gonna chat and catch up. I'm hoping to do more videos like this where I just kind of like wrap up the month and kind of give you updates on all things writing, all things reading, and personal life stuff as well. So if you want to stick around and watch this video, I would appreciate it. And I would also appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. I really am on here to just build community with other writers and readers, and I would love to get to know you. So let's just get right into everything. If this room looks different than other locations that I have filmed in, it's because it is. If you've watched one of my recent vlogs, you would see that there was a part of the vlog where I said that something happened that was not in the cards for me at all. It was not in my line of sight. I really just did not foresee these circumstances. And I haven't been able to talk about it up until now because I wanted to just wait until things happened and because things were happening super quickly. But I moved again. And I'm gonna stop talking here because I did film a clip earlier kind of talking about more in depth about this move situation. So let's flash back to past Charlotte and just let her explain really quickly. My husband and I are moving. Yeah, I had no plans of moving out of this house this year. My husband is a music artist and his label is based in Orlando. And we live like an hour and 30-ish outside of Orlando. It had been kind of like a topic of conversation for a while that we could potentially move out there, and something that I at one point was very resistant to because right now I live 30 minutes from the ocean. And as someone who was a massive fan of Pirates of the Caribbean, living near the ocean was one of my dreams. The decision was not really our decision. A lot of the factors as to why we've kind of circled back here to this conversation and kind of came to this conclusion is because we're currently renting this home, this beautiful home, and our landlord wanted to sell the house. So that was the crazy thing that happened in my last vlog, if you watched that. I wanted to stay in this house. I felt like we were supposed to be staying here. I had kind of given up any fantasies of leaving this year. We have a lot of things that we are trying to build and work on, and a lot of the opportunities for those things are out in the city. We found a place, thank God, because I was very concerned about that. But now we're basically having to pack up our whole life. I honestly was tempted to give up on trying to vlog and trying to post on YouTube at this time, but I think I have a feeling that this move is like part of my journey to becoming an author, and it's part of a new adventure and a new era. And so I wanted to document that really for myself, but because you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you gotta hear about it too. But yeah, I'm in my office right now packing, and honestly I'm like dreading, I'm trying to put off packing my bookshelf as much as possible. I could crash out at any second, that's the truth. Moving is so weird. Like, I went from being someone who lived at the same house for years. I have moved to like 5 places in the last like 3 years, I think, and I hate that. But this is a good transition, and so I'm celebrating it, and I'm not gonna complain, to be honest, because it could be a crazier scenario. Yeah, I'm just really excited. I'm really grateful that the puzzle pieces are kind of falling into place in a really cool way. And yeah, I'm feeling really blessed. I'm feeling really scared, honestly, and excited about these changes. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Anyways, this move has been crazy. This has taken up pretty much the entire month of February for us. Just like finding a place, getting things packed, cleaning out, getting settled. This is literally our first week back where we're not driving back and forth between where we live now and where we used to live. Anyways, I'm really grateful that we can finally just like settle in, begin our lives here. And for me, really, it's more just getting back to a lot of the things that I really set out to do this year. And a lot of that has to do with my writing and really just like working towards my dream of being a published author. And one of the really cool things about this move that has really encouraged me a lot more on this journey is just like looking up like different libraries and like independent bookstores and even like the different Barnes and Nobles in my area that are hosting author events. They're hosting book events. They're hosting like live write-ins where you go and you just write your own story and do writing sprints with other writers in the community. Like there's just a lot more out here in regards to just like the book space and the writing community than there was where I was living. Like a lot of that was more local. There's tons of conventions out here. Like there's just so much opportunity for me to really go and meet people and, you know, gain more wisdom from people in person from the industry, not just writers, but like agents, editors, booksellers. That's something I'm really looking forward to. It's just really getting plugged in to a real life community because I think that the online community is so fantastic. I mean, I've been so encouraged even just by joining writing sprints every Monday with Taylor and Natalie, my coworkers, as we have established. And just anyone else who joins in those live streams, like that's kind of really helped me build more of a sense of community with other writers and feeling like I'm not on this journey by myself, which is really nice. But I'm really looking forward to just getting more involved with in-person things as well. So that's really the biggest personal life update. I don't really have anything else to share because moving has consumed my every waking thought and action. Even now, as I'm filming this, like there are boxes behind you, there's laundry everywhere, there's boxes all along this side of the room, like there's boxes all in my living room, and it's just a mess. And I'm really excited for it to not be a mess anymore. But I know that just like with writing and just like with all good things, like there is a process, and I'm really just trying to enjoy being here and enjoy just this new chapter that has opened for me and my family. That's so exciting. Anyways, let's not be too sentimental because I do have to talk about writing in this update. So let's get right into talking about my books. If I sound out of breath right now, it's because I worked out in the gym for the first time in like a month, and I dared myself to do Bulgarian split squats. But yeah, I thought I was gonna die. So I won't be doing those ever again. I am still working on my young adult portal fantasy novel titled The Winds of Destiny. This is the first installment in a trilogy about a grieving teenage girl who discovers a magical well in her small Canadian town. She gets transported to a new world through that well and discovers that she has all these connections with the world and that the fate of the world actually is very much balanced on her shoulders. I'm still learning how to talk about this book. This is a book that I have written over 10 years ago. I self-published it when I was 17, and now I'm completely rewriting the book, reworking it, and trying to get it ready for publication again. My initial plan was to publish it as like a second edition, but part of me really does want to try and traditionally publish the book and pitch it to agents, go on submission, go through that whole process. If you have any tips on like how to write a good pitch or how to write a synopsis, I would love some of those tips because I am really struggling with that right now, and I'm really struggling with learning how to just talk about my story without getting bogged down by like all the details. But yes, I've been working on The Winds of Destiny and we're at the midpoint. Yeah, I know. It's just
look around you. Look at this. We created this. This didn't exist before we were here. Look around at the square. I promise you right now, we did this.
It feels so good. And I'm also dying at the same time. So that's so fun. But yeah, we've reached the midpoint. I think I'm satisfied now with this particular plot beat being the midpoint. I've reworked some of the things in the fun and games leading up to the midpoint because I kind of felt for a while that this part of the book really fell flat, even though it is like a huge momentous game changer thing. But it just never really felt like the midpoint to me. It never felt like a climactic point. I wouldn't say it still does because it's not high action or anything. And I know that like a climax doesn't have to be that, but there is just something that like comes up in the middle of this journey that really just gives my protagonist, Carter Olson, just the answers that she didn't even realize that she was really seeking. She went to this place for a specific answer and got a whole can of worms. So I think in that way it works really well as a midpoint. And it's also like the primary function of the first novel in this trilogy. But yeah, I kind of added some things in the fun and games leading up to that point, because in the initial like published version of this book that I published when I was 17, they were on their journey for a specific reason to meet with this particular person. And I had written that out in my initial drafts of this rewrite. And now I've put it back in. And that's a theme that I have been coming across, like as I've been working on this rewrite, is a lot of the things that I chose to remove from the original manuscript are somehow finding their way back into the story in a way where it does feel right. Like it doesn't feel like I'm just like leaning back on some of that stuff that feels familiar. It feels like I'm making an intentional decision with that. As frustrating as it's been, because it feels like, why did I rewrite all this and take all this out and try all these different avenues if like I was just gonna go back to the original? But I think it's safe to say that trying those different things has led me back to this particular point and has proven to me that, you know, I actually do have really good instincts as a storyteller. And as a writer, if you're a writer watching this video, you'll know that this journey is filled with so much self-doubt. Like it's filled with questioning, is this even good? Does this even make sense? And so when you get those moments where you just feel so validated in your own, like by your own process, it's just really encouraging. And it makes me feel like a lot more sure of myself as a writer. That being said, I am very frustrated with this book right now. And I feel like this always happens when I get to the midpoint. I feel like for me, the hardest part of the book is the fun and games section in the midpoint. It's that Act 2 is just not for me. The beginning is my home, my sweet spot. The end, I feel like just kind of bursts out of me in a rush. It needs a lot of editing, but I enjoy writing it. Whereas I feel like Act 2 is just, I just struggle. I really do. And with this book in particular, it's more of a struggle because I initially wrote the book by the seat of my pants. I didn't plot anything out, which is a mistake I will not be making ever again. And I have not made as I've been writing some other books, because man, I took a break from like actually doing the editing and the writing to go and just write out my outline again. And even since I've made a bunch of changes in the manuscript, like I've done that by the seat of my pants instead of going and creating an outline and, you know, just doing all the things that would make my life easier. So I went back and I started writing my outline again, and I was just getting stuck. I just feel like I can't fully articulate like the plot points with what's going on with my character, even though inside I know what it is, but finding a way to summarize things has been really tricky for me. And that's something that I think has been in the back of my mind as I think about writing a synopsis, which is why I decided to kind of go back and do that stuff, because I'm working on trying to put something together for a query letter. And it's just making me question my book. Like the other day when I was working on it, I just could not shake the feeling that this was bad and that everything I was doing was trash. And, you know, all those thoughts that you have when you just have a bad writing day or when you're just frustrated and stuck and there's something that you have to figure out. And I feel like it's just one of those trust the process moments. Like I said earlier in this video, like I am still learning how to talk about my book. And as I was sitting and journaling this morning, I really kind of came to that conclusion where it's like, okay, this is part of the process and these things come with practice. And I need to just chill out. I need to silence all the voices that are telling me that I'm not good at this and just look at the actual evidence and see like, hey, like I've written a book that has gotten great feedback. I personally love the book. And yes, it has its imperfections. Yes, it could be so much better, but it's definitely on the right path. And there's so much more process to go, especially if I decide to do traditional publishing. There's definitely a lot more process to go, but that's where I'm at. I've made some really good progress recently, and I'm actually going to be writing today, and I'm going to be joining the live stream that Taylor and Natalie do every Monday. Now that we've gotten the writing updates out of the way, I do want to talk about reading. I have been reading A Fire Endless by Rebecca Ross, which is the sequel to A River Enchanted. This is like a Celtic inspired fantasy duology. It is so good. Like, this is a very character driven story, which is something I really love, and just it feels so heartwarming, touching, immersive. Like, I feel like I've been so sucked into this world of these two clans that are at war with each other, and just like the harsh conditions of like living in like this, like, I guess, fantasy inspired Scotland. It's just a really beautiful story. There's a lot of commentary about art in it. Like, a lot of the characters have certain abilities, so like if you're a healer or a weaver, or one of the main characters, Jack, he's a musician, when they do their craft, it's like they're giving pieces of themselves away. And it really just like emphasized how creating art and just like these different crafts and art forms and stuff are just like a really like spiritual experience. And I thought that was just an interesting like commentary on that. The relationships between the characters is also fantastic. It feels super organic. There's a couple in the book, Torn and Sidra, and they're a married couple, and it's been a while since I've come across a fantasy book where like a couple is already married and dealing with marital issues and just like deepening their relationship already as an established couple. It was just such a pleasure to read, and it continues to be, because the stakes in the second book are so high, and I just need everyone to be okay. I just need everyone to be fine, and it looks like everyone is, but I'm also really scared because I'm kind of at the tail end of Act 2, and I just have this feeling that something bad is gonna happen, even though everything feels like a happy ending. So if you haven't picked up The Elements of Cadence duology by Rebecca Ross, I do highly recommend it, because this has been such a pleasure to read, and her writing is so gorgeous, like beautiful, chef's kiss. The most beautiful prose in a fantasy book that I have read in a while. Again, really immersive, really heartwarming, endearing. Love it. Love, 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 love. As for what I'm going to be reading next, I have no idea. I, at one point, was rereading the Throne of Glass series. I've stopped at Queen of Shadows, kind of stuck on Empire of Storms. It's just a lot, you know? It's like with a huge fantasy series, sometimes you need to take breaks, and also because it's a reread for me, I need to like take breaks with new books because I get that craving for something new to inspire me and my writing and stuff. But yeah, I think my next read, it might be Empire of Storms. I might continue my read Throne of Glass. I'm kind of feeling it, especially because my family, well, my in-laws, my husband's family, but they're my family. We're going on a family cruise at the end of March. I'm trying to think of what books I'm going to bring, and I'm trying to pick my next read based on what I'm going to bring with me on the cruise. So I'm definitely bringing, there's this book called like The Republic of Pirates. I do not remember who it's by, but I got this from Barnes & Noble a while ago, and it's like a history book about like the golden age of piracy in the Caribbean. And our cruise is kind of going to be going in that area. Like, we're going to Nassau, we're going to Montego Bay, like going to like some other places too, but like really we're going to be in like that region. And I have to read that pirate book. I just think that's like the perfect setting for me to actually want to read a history book, and especially a history book about pirates, which is something that I'm obsessed with. And I really do want to write a pirate book one day, and the Winds of Destiny trilogy may have sprinkles of it. And that's part of the reason I purchased the book, is because I felt like it was going to help me a little bit with some of the plot points that come up in some of the later books of the Winds of Destiny trilogy. I don't know, I'm thinking of picking up Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, just because I love her writing so much, but we'll see. If you want to know more about my reading, I recommend that you follow me on Fable, because that's kind of the primary platform that I'm using right now to track my books, to leave reviews, comments, and all that. So you can follow me on Fable if you want more. Anyways, I'm gonna end the video here because this has been a little bit chaotic and all over the place. Really, my goal with this video is to just give you guys a quick update on the move, on all things writing, and just where I'm at with working on my story. Yeah, if you want more videos like this, definitely let me know in the comments. And I'd also love for you in the comments to leave me a book that you are hoping to read in the month of March, because I'm very interested as to what everyone is reading right now. Thank you so much for being here and joining me for this chaotic life update video. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all of you who have subscribed to this channel. Like, it really means a lot to me. And yeah, we'll be back with a new video soon. Bye.